Good evening. Today the subject of the talk is Kamma. I'm sure many of you have heard this talk on Kamma before, and so some of the things here would be familiar to some of you, and there might be certain things that are new to some of you. And Kamma usually is quite an interesting subject because after the talk, usually people have more questions to ask because Kamma is something that concerns everyone, and there are many different aspects of Kamma which are quite interesting. So I hope you will bear in mind as I go along what questions you want to ask in the end. If you are shy to ask, stand up and ask. Please perhaps get some paper from the ladies there and write down your question. Now, there are many laws that govern our lives, but the most important one that governs our life again and again is the law of Kamma Vipaka. The law of Kamma Vipaka. Kamma means action, and the Buddha said that intention is Kamma. That means intentional action. If there's any action you do intentionally, that is Kamma, and Vipaka is the result of it. The result can ripen immediately or sometime later in this life or perhaps in a future lifetime. Now, Kamma Vipaka is sometimes translated as cause and effect, and that is not a good translation. That is something that is used in Chinese, in Mahayana Buddhism, in Chinese books. They say yin guo. It's something like cause and effect. Why is it not a good translation? Because there are two types of yin guo, two types of cause and effect. Worldly cause and effect and Buddhist cause and effect. The difference can be seen in an example. For example, you are driving a car and suddenly a small boy runs across the road and you hit the small boy and you kill him. Now, you did not have an intention to kill this boy, so you did not create any karma. But however, because you knocked down that boy, what might happen is that the family might come out, and as you stop the car, family might pull you out of the car and beat you up. And in addition to that, another day they might sue you in court, you see. So there is a result of knocking down the boy, namely that you get beaten up and you get sued in court. But that is worldly cause and effect. Does not concern Buddhist Kamma Vipaka, because there was no intention on your part. So we have to very clearly differentiate between worldly cause and effect and Kamma Vipaka. Sometimes it can be different if there is no intention involved. How do we create karma? Through the three doors of body, speech and mind. Through the body we can kill somebody, we can steal, we can commit adultery. Through the verbal karma we can lie, we can badmouth somebody, we can cause disharmony by carrying tales from one person to another. We can use coarse speech, rough language, etc. That is verbal karma. And mental karma is like we have excessive greed, covetousness, we have excessive hatred, anger or hatred, and we have extremely wrong views, etc. That is mental karma. But usually this is not just, this mental karma is just not just thinking, because thinking is just stray thoughts. It's not mental karma. There has to be some kind of intention behind it. Now, what is wholesome karma and what is unwholesome karma? Or what is good and what is bad karma? Good karma is that which benefits other living beings, helps other living beings, makes them happy, etc., or helps ourselves. And bad karma or unwholesome karma is that kind of karma which harms other living beings. For example, killing another living being, stealing, as a result of which somebody suffers, some being suffers, that is unwholesome or evil karma. So good and bad in Buddhism is different from other religions. Good and bad, good is what helps other living beings, benefit other living beings, and bad is what harms other living beings. Now, human life is very important compared to other life, life in other realms. Because here on the human realm, we create a lot of karma because we use our thinking mind a lot. When we use our thinking mind, we do things, we plan to do things and we carry them out with intention. Because of that, we create a lot of karma, for example, compared to animals. Animals, they are a bit like dungu. One day somebody told me sugu, a bit stupid like that, They just accept things as they come along, and they might suffer, but they don't think very much. So because of that, they don't create much karma. And even other realms like ghosts, hell beings, heavenly realms where they enjoy, they don't think of using their mind so much. So because we create a lot of karma, this lifespan, this life as a human being is very, very important because it determines the next few lifetimes, The effect of what we do now determines even the next few lifetimes. And sometimes, like for example, in one sutta, there was a daughter of a king by the name of Sumana. He came to ask the Buddha, what's the difference between a person who likes to give alms, give food to the monks, and a person who does not like to give food to the monks? The Buddha said, the person who likes to give food to a monk, in the next lifetime, perhaps is born as a heavenly being. Then perhaps another person might not like to give alms, food to monks, but he is also born as a deva in the heavenly realm. Now the difference between the two of them is that the one who likes to give alms, he will have a longer lifespan, he will have a more beautiful body, have a stronger body, have a longer life, and have more influence, more power, etc. And then Sumana asked again, then suppose after the deva lifespan, it comes down as a human being, is there any difference between the two? And the Buddha said, yes, there will again be a difference between the two in these few things. The one who gives alms will be more beautiful, stronger, have a longer lifespan, and more influential, more well-known and powerful. So, again Sumana asked, suppose now the two of them renounce and become monks, would there be a difference? And then the Buddha said, yes, there will still be a difference. The one who gives alms, when he becomes a monk, he will get more offerings from lay people. More people will like him, and he will receive more food, more robes to wear, etc., more places to live. Whereas the person who does not give alms, more selfish, then less people will supply him with all the requisites. So you see, the karma follows us sometimes for a few lifetimes. Now, why is it we want to know the law of Kamma Vipaka? Because when we understand the law of Kamma Vipaka, then we learn to avoid unnecessary suffering. In life, there are some types of suffering which are unavoidable. There are some types of suffering which are avoidable. What is unavoidable is, for example, growing old. Nobody can avoid growing old. Becoming sick sometimes, and especially when you're old. And dying, passing away. These three things nobody can avoid. But there are certain things we can avoid. For example, in the worldly sense, drinking and driving. If you drink and you drive at the same time, then you'll end up with an accident. But if with a bit of skill, you know when you drink, you don't drive. When you drive, you don't drink. Then that is one example. So in the same way, when it comes to Kamma Vipaka, we know if we do a certain action, that it harms some other living being, and the karma will come back to us another day, and we will have to suffer. So knowing the law of Kamma Vipaka, as the Christians say, as you sow, so shall you reap. For example, if you sow paddy seeds, you will have to reap paddy. If you plant rambutan seed, another day you get rambutans. If you plant durian seed, you get durian. So depending on what you plant, you get back in return. Now, so knowing the law of karma, we want to avoid unwholesome or unskillful karma, and this is avoiding evil. And for that, the Buddha prescribed that we, all of us, should keep the 5 precepts, because the 5 precepts are the basic things to guide us from harming other living beings. The first one is not to intentionally kill. The second is not to intentionally steal. Third is not to commit adultery. The fourth is not to lie. And the fifth is not to take intoxicants to the extent that you get intoxicated. And these are very basic things that some of it is found even in the laws of a country. For example, you kill a human being, the law will get you into trouble. Or you steal, cheat somebody in business. Or you run away with somebody's wife or husband, that also can get you into a lot of trouble. So these 5 precepts are quite basic things that all of us have to uphold. However, concerning the first precept against killing, in the early Buddha's teachings, it was not taught that we must become vegetarians. If you want to become vegetarian, very good. But if you don't want to become a vegetarian, then in Buddhism there are 2 kinds of meat. One type is allowed to be eaten, another type is not allowed to be eaten. The one that is allowed is the type of meat where you don't kill the animal yourself, you don't ask somebody to kill. And the second condition is you don't see the killing, and the third condition is you don't hear the animal cry as it was being killed. With these 3 conditions, you don't have the direct karma of killing, because there's no intention on your part. If you go to the market and buy meat that's already slaughtered, or fish that's already dead, and then it's acceptable in the Buddha's teachings. But the other type of meat that is not allowed is where you, for example, you go to the market and you select a chicken and ask the man to slaughter the chicken and you take home. Because you ask, either you kill or you ask somebody to kill, that is not allowed. You see the killing or you hear the animal cry as being slaughtered, and that is not allowed. If you want to know more about this, later you can ask. Now, the other aspect of karma is after avoiding evil, we want to do good, we want to create wholesome karma that benefits others. So in return, we get the benefit. And for that, the Buddha advised that we do dana. Dana is offerings, doing charity. And that's one aspect. Another is like keeping the 8 precepts once a week, because as lay people, you don't have much time to cultivate the spiritual path like monks have. So you put aside 1 day of a week to cultivate the 8 precepts. If you can't do it in the temple, then you try to do it at home. Now there are many other advice given on how to create good karma so that you get a lot of blessings. And there's one sutta which is very good called the Mangala Sutta, where a deva, a heavenly being, came to ask the Buddha, how do we get the highest blessings? And the Buddha gave a lot of advice, like not to associate with fools, to associate with wise men, to respect those who are worthy of respect, like your parents, uncles, aunties, elders, teachers, monks, etc. And then having much knowledge of the Dhamma, the Buddha's teachings, that also brings you much blessings. Discussion of the Dhamma with others. Having gratitude. This having gratitude is not so common in the world, And one of the first persons we must have gratitude towards is our parents, because our parents have done a lot for us, and it is very much of the Buddhist tradition that we always support and be kind towards our parents and respect our parents. Then another one is like practice of humility. Sometimes people forget, as we succeed in life, we become successful, we become tauke and all that, then our ego increases, and that's not good for us. So we learn to be, these things sometimes we forget when we read the Dhamma, Buddha's teachings, it reminds us to walk the good way. Meekness, in the Bible, it said that blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the kingdom of God, or something like that. So meekness is also another good quality. Forbearance or patience. Sometimes people are not nice to us. We learn to be patient. We try to see that perhaps we have done something wrong in the past, so that's why we are getting this kind of karma now. So if we see it that way, sometimes certain things that is difficult to bear, we learn to bear it. And then visiting monks, seeing monks so that we can learn some Dhamma is another way we can get blessings. Now in the Buddha's discourses, the Buddha said there are 4 types of person whom your conduct towards is very, you should be very careful, because they are the 4 fields of merit and also 4 fields of demerit. If you are good towards them, you get a lot of merit. If you act badly towards them, you get quite a lot of demerit. The first one is the Buddha. The Buddha has passed into Nibbana, so we can't interact with the Buddha, can't do anything about that. The second one is the disciples of the Buddha, monks and nuns. You have to be very careful not to create bad karma towards monks and nuns, because sometimes if that monk or nun is a good monk or nun, then the demerit can be quite serious. And the third one is mother, the fourth one is father. Mother and father are this good field of merit, where if you serve mother and father well, we get a lot of blessings. Sometimes some people make a mistake of not being filial towards mother and father, and after the mother and father have passed away, they get a lot of remorse. It troubles their mind. So we have to we know this from the Buddha's teachings, and we learn to be good towards our parents while they are still alive. After they have passed away, there's nothing much we can do for them. And the advantages of keeping good karma, of doing wholesome karma, firstly is you have a good reputation, because if you don't, for example, you don't womanize, you don't go killing animals, you don't steal, you don't lie, etc., you get a good reputation. The second one, because you have nothing to be ashamed about, if you do create good karma instead of evil karma, then when you face a group of people, you dare to face a group of people without a sense of shame. Whereas if you did shameful deeds, you would not have that confidence. Another advantage is that when we grow old, we have a very clear mind. People who keep the precepts very clear, when they grow old, they have a very clear mind because they have no remorse to disturb them. When I was in Penang, I used to go to one old lady's house. This is one of my supporters. Because I used to live up the hill every morning, I come down to this old lady's house. And devotees wait for me there. And they give me food in my alms bowl, and I walk up to my cave up the hill. So this old lady is in her 80s. And she's very thin. The body is not very strong, but the mind is very clear. She's got very good memory, and that's a result of keeping very good precepts. Sometimes telephone numbers we forget, she can remember. On the other hand, you see some people, they don't have good precepts. When they are in their 50s, their mind is very disturbed, trouble, and then they very quickly, some people at the age of 55, lo mo liao. They are already senile, talk nonsense and all that, because there's a lot of things troubling their mind. Another thing is when we are coming towards death, facing death, then if we have good karma, we are very happy, we have that confidence, good karma will support us. We know that when we close our eyes and pass away, that our karma, wherever we go, it should be a good place. Whereas another person, if he's done a lot of evil, when the time comes for them to die, they get very scared. If you go to the hospital, you find many people, when they are about to pass away, they are very scared. They dare not close their eyes. Some of them, they dare not switch off the light. Every night the light must be on. And sometimes some of them are even terrified. And the last thing is, if you have good karma, then the Buddha says, it will lead us to a good rebirth. Now there's one sutta called the Chula Kamma Vibhanga Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, where somebody came to ask the Buddha. He said something like, Lord, why is it in this world you see people are all different? Some people are born beautiful, some people are born ugly, some people are born healthy, some are born sickly, some have a long life, some have a short life, some are born into a wealthy family, some are born into a poor family, some are intelligent, some are stupid, some are influential and well known, some are unknown and insignificant. And the Buddha said it's all due to karma in the past life. If a person is always angry, then when the person is reborn, that person becomes ugly. If a person is good-natured, doesn't have a bad temper, when you say something nasty to him or her, he just takes it lightly and smiles, and then that kind of person will be born beautiful. Why? Because every time you get angry, our face becomes fierce, and every time we become fierce, we make our face become fierce. It sort of naturally becomes a habit. Day after day we do that, the face becomes fierce. Then when we are born, we're born with a fierce face. And people say ugly. Whereas another person who's good-natured tends to smile, tends to take things evenly, and good-natured. So that kind of person becomes very sweet. The face becomes very sweet, and it's natural that that person will be born beautiful. And why is a person sickly? Buddha said if a person likes to harm other living beings, for example, beat, in the olden days they used to have slaves. Some people like to beat their slaves, or beat the dogs or whatever animals they have. If they continually beat other living beings, make their body painful, then next time when you come back, you will have a sickly body, because the body will give you pain here and there as a retribution. But if you don't torture other animals, don't make their body painful, then it is natural next time when you come back, then your body is not painful, so you'll be healthy and strong. If a person in the past did a lot of killing, for example, like to go hunting, fishing, etc., enjoy at the expense of other beings' life, then because he made other beings' life short, next time he will get short life as a result. You see some children very young, they don't survive, they pass away very young. And some very young also they get cancer or something. And a person who does not kill, you allow other beings to have long life, it's natural that as a result you will also have long life. If you have been very selfish in the past, never was charitable, never helped others, so next time you come, it's natural that you are born into a poor family, and even if you try to do business, to open a shop or something, nobody will come and do your business because nobody wants to support you. But if you were very charitable, very helpful towards others, next time, because you give, you get it back. You might be born into a wealthy family, or if you start a business, a lot of people want to come and support you. So you become wealthy very easily. Sometimes this can be seen, two shops selling the same thing on the same road. One might be very successful, another one, business very bad. So some of these things that the Buddha taught, they are very evident, self-evident, you can see around us. Why is a person born stupid? Sometimes some people are born stupid. The Buddha said it's because in the past, if you don't know something, you don't take the trouble to investigate. That's one cause. Another cause is perhaps you drink too much liquor, intoxicants, spoil the brain. Because if we drink hard liquor, we drink a brandy or something neat, it damages the cells in our brain. And the cells in our brain are limited, If we damage it, then it's quite permanently damaged. So that's another reason. And why a person, on the other hand, is born intelligent, the first reason, if he does not know, he takes the trouble to ask, to investigate. That's one reason. Another reason is he avoids intoxicants like liquors and all that. Third reason is he meditates. As we meditate, we clear our mind, we develop our mind. That brings us intelligence or wisdom. Then why is some people are known and insignificant and other people are influential and well known? The Buddha said the person who is unknown and insignificant, that person is a small-hearted person, always jealous of other people, very spiteful. That person, next time he comes, will be unknown and insignificant, nobody is bothered about him. Whereas another person who is big-hearted, never jealous of people, has a lot of goodwill instead of ill will, that kind of person, next time he comes, he'll be born very influential and well-known and powerful. So these are the reasons why people in the world are all different. Because of past life karma, each of us come into this life with different qualities.